The medical bay of Outpost Kepler 7 hummed with the sterile efficiency of advanced alien technology, yet the tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a surgical laser. Emma stood at the edge of the containment field, her green eyes fixed on the wounded Crithian soldier who had been brought in 20 minutes ago. "He's losing blood rapidly," Dr. Voss announced, his three-fingered hands hovering over the holographic display. "If we don't operate in the next hour, he won't make it." The Crithian, a 7-foot-tall warrior with obsidian scales and golden eyes that burned with fierce intelligence, remained motionless on the medical platform. His breathing was labored, and purple blood seeped through the makeshift bandages wrapped around his torso. Yet despite his critical condition, he had refused all treatment. "No humans," the soldier rasped in broken Standard Galactic. "No trust." Emma exchanged a glance with Jason, the human military liaison who stood near the entrance. Jason's jaw was tight, his arms crossed over his chest. He had seen this before, the deep-seated mistrust that many alien species held toward humanity, even decades after first contact. "This is ridiculous," Dr. Voss muttered. "We're trying to save his life." "He's a Crithian void shooter," Jason said quietly. "Elite special operations. They're trained to resist interrogation, survive impossible odds, and trust absolutely no one outside their unit. Especially not humans." Emma had heard the stories. The Crithian void shooters were legendary, ghost soldiers who operated in the darkest corners of space, conducting missions that officially never happened. They were bound by codes of honor so ancient and complex that even the Galactic Council didn't fully understand them. "There has to be a way," Emma said, stepping closer to the containment field. The Crithian's eyes tracked her movement, suspicious and defiant despite his pain. "I've tried everything," Dr. Voss said helplessly. "He won't even let us scan him properly." Emma studied the soldier carefully. Beneath the scales and the alien features, she recognized something familiar. The look of a warrior carrying more than just physical wounds. She had seen it in the eyes of human veterans, in Jason's own guarded expressions when he thought no one was watching. "What's his name?" she asked. Jason consulted his datapad. Designation, Striker 79. Real name unknown. He was recovered from a downed reconnaissance ship near the Vortex Nebula. Sole survivor of his unit. Sole survivor. Emma's heart clenched. She understood now. This wasn't just about distrust of humans. This was about survivor's guilt, about a soldier who had lost his entire team and no longer cared whether he lived or died. "Let me try," Emma said suddenly. Doctor Voss looked skeptical. "What can you do that I haven't tried?" "I don't know yet," Emma admitted. "But I have to try something." Jason nodded slowly. "Go ahead. We're running out of options anyway." Emma approached the containment field, her movements slow and deliberate. The Crithian watched her with those burning golden eyes, his body tensed as if preparing for an attack. "Striker 79, Emma said softly, using his designation. "I know you don't trust us. I know you've lost your unit." The Crithian's eyes narrowed dangerously. "I'm not going to pretend I understand what you've been through," Emma continued. "But I know what it means to survive when others didn't. I know what it feels like to carry that weight." "You know nothing, human," the soldier growled. Emma took a breath. She had studied Crithian culture extensively during her xenomedicine training, driven by a fascination with how different species process trauma. She knew about their military codes, their honor systems, their wait. A memory surfaced, a lecture from her advanced xenopsychology course. Professor Harkin had mentioned something about Crithian units, about how they used verbal codes to identify friendly forces in compromised situations. It was a long shot, but Emma had always been good at connecting disparate pieces of information. "Ember 973, she said quietly, reciting a code she had memorized from a declassified intelligence report about Crithian operations near the Vortex Nebula. The effect was instantaneous. The Crithian's entire body went rigid, his golden eyes widening in shock. "How?" he whispered. "How do you know that code?" Jason straightened, his hand instinctively moving toward his sidearm. "Emma, what did you just say?" "It's a recognition code," Emma explained quickly, "used by Crithian special operations units in the Vortex sector. I read about it in a military intelligence briefing that was declassified 6 months ago." She turned back to the Crithian. "Your unit was working with human intelligence operatives, weren't they? That's why you were near the Vortex Nebula." It was a joint operation. The soldiers' breathing became even more labored. The mission classified. I know, Emma said gently. But the humans who worked with your unit, they survived because of you. They made it out of that sector and reported what happened. They spoke about a Crithian unit that held the line, that sacrificed everything so the intelligence could be extracted. Tears, or what passed for tears in Crithian physiology, began to form in the soldiers' golden eyes. They didn't forget you, Emma continued, her own voice thick with emotion. And they wouldn't want you to die here, alone, refusing help because of pride or guilt. My brothers, my sisters, all gone. The Crithian whispered. Yes, Emma acknowledged. And I can't bring them back. But I can honor their sacrifice by saving you. Will you let me try? For a long moment, the medical bay was silent except for the hum of machinery and the labored breathing of the dying soldier. Then, slowly, almost imperceptibly, the Crithian nodded. Do it, he rasped. But the human nurse stays. Emma. She stays. Emma smiled through her own tears. I'm not going anywhere. Dr. Voss immediately sprang into action, his hands flying over the controls as the medical equipment whirred to life. Jason approached Emma, placing a hand on her shoulder. How did you know? He asked quietly. I didn't, Emma admitted. I just hoped. Sometimes that's all we have. As the medical team worked to save Striker 79's life, Emma stood by the containment field, keeping her promise. She had spoken a code that bridged the gap between species, between distrust and hope, between death and survival. And in that moment, she understood what HFY truly meant. Not that humans were better than other species, but that humanity's stubborn refusal to give up, even in the darkest moments, could inspire others to keep fighting too. The Crithian would survive. And perhaps, in time, so would the trust between their peoples.